Yanek show, best show on the planet. Mike Yanek show, best show on the planet. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome your host for this podcast, Mr. Mike Yanek. Hey, woo, yeah, we love you, Mike. Woo, bam. Episode 2, baby. How you doing, mate? Before I start, I just need to say, because I forgot to do that on the previous episode, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's a bit, yeah, it's middle of January now, I think, yeah. So, but anyways, doesn't matter, mate, does it? Merry Christmas, happy holidays. I hope that you had a fun time during, the Christmas festivities, and that you spent some time with your family. I hope that you got really drunk though. You got really drunk, didn't you, during the Christmas, during New Year's? Of course you did, you cheeky basta. I hope you had a good time, mate. Okay, and episode 2. Now, you know what happened, mate? To be honest with you, I recorded an episode. Like, I just finished recording an episode, hour and a half, and I was thinking, like, man, this is a good episode. I'm really happy how things turned out. And then when I listened to it, I figured out, I'm such an idiot, mate. I was not speaking, directly at the microphone. I was like, I was all over the place, because the thing is, I'm very animated when I speak, and I jump up and down and I talk, and I had notes over here, but fucking, like paper was flying all over the place. And then I was like, fuck, the audio was really, really bad. And then I was really pissed. I was really mad. But I was like, you know what? It's show business, baby. It happens. Stuff like that happen. And you know what? I'll tell you what, though. Don't think for a second. Don't be like, oh my god, Mike, did I miss out something with the first episode? Was that episode that you recorded? Was it that good? It was fucking brilliant, mate. But this episode is going to be even better, because we're gonna have even more fun times, and we're gonna have even more goofs and gaffs and spoofs and giggles. Okay, so don't fucking worry about anything, mate. Okay, so this is the second time I'm recording this podcast. Hopefully this time I'm speaking to the right fucking side of this microphone, and hopefully the audio is good. Anyways, what I'm trying to tell you, mate, is, oh my god, I finally found it. Whoop whoop. I finally found it, mate. For the last 15 years, mate. 15 years. For the last 15 years, I've been looking for it. I've been searching for it. And finally, I saw it, mate. The best documentary ever made. Yeah, that is a big statement. I know it is. But we're gonna unpack things in the next hour. You're going to understand why this is the best documentary ever made. Now, before I start, and before I bless you with the glory and the magnificence that is this podcast. See, I can use big words. What's up? What's up? Before I bless you with all this unbelievable visual stimulation that I received in the last few days after I witnessed this documentary by complete accident, I'm gonna tell you before that who hold who was holding the crown, the numero uno place for the best documentary ever made for me. And I think there's actually two documentaries that share the first place. The first one is World War II in color. Okay, if you haven't seen that documentary, after you finish this podcast, okay, I don't want you midway, because look, I'll check the analytics, bro. If I find out that after I told you, oh, go and see this documentary, and if I find out that you just drop out of fucking nowhere, and you just like, oh my god, I'm gonna go and watch see the documentary, and you just piss off, I'll find you, bro. Okay, I'll find you. Oh yeah, brother. World War II and Coward, as the name of the documentary, is absolutely magnificent. It's professionally made. It looks like a fucking movie made. It's relatively, I think it's 2015, so it's relatively new, for a documentary. I think it's done by, I don't know, like HBO or something. They have never seen before footage. Everything is, they've remastered all the footage they have, so everything is in color. It's outstanding. I think it's in two parts. I think it's like 3 hours or something. It's magnificent. Okay, it's a I think it's really, really important for the history of how documentary movies are made. And the other one, it's called The Last Day of a Dictator. It follows the I think is the last day or the last week of four dictators before they get assassinated or thrown out of office or whatever. Joseph Stalin, Muammar Gaddafi, and two others. Sorry, I don't remember the other ones, but it's absolutely outstanding. And they have CGI, they have a lot of 3D modeling. They have actual pictures, actual footage that is remastered. They have a lot of actors playing out different scenes, but it's done tremendously. It's an hour and a half. It feels like a Hollywood movie. It's so well made. So I think that those two documentaries are unbelievably important about the history of documentary movies, because I'm a huge documentaries fan, and I've been watching since I was a kid. And when I was a kid, documentaries they were not that good. They were kind of boring, to be honest with you. There was just like, especially in the 80s and 90s, the documentaries that I've seen, they were all just like footage that was not that interesting, or they have a lot of pictures with voiceover work above that, and they have a few maybe people that they were part of, like, doesn't matter what the topic of the documentary is. They had people who were involved somehow in the story, and they were just giving these really boring interviews in empty rooms, and that's it. Just like they were just cutting all the way, all the time, from pictures to interviews, pictures into. It was super boring, mate. But those two documentaries, they really made a revolution when it comes to making documentary movies. Now, that being said, the documentary that I saw the last few days, mate, puts those two documentaries to shame. Oh my god, mate. The name of the official name of the documentary is the 2 million calories buffet. Or is it the 2 million calories diet? Well, see, I did all this research, and I have notes. I have 7 pages of notes here. I wrote down all the highlights and stuff, because it's an 45 to 1 hour movie. But I actually didn't remember the actual name of the documentary. It doesn't matter, mate, because I call it The Kings of the Buffet. That is my name. And yeah, this is my name of the movie. And it's absolutely tremendous. Like, the whole concept is no, the whole documentary is about buffet and about food. How fucking good is that? I've seen many documentaries about food, but I've never seen a documentary about buffets. And I've never seen a documentary about buffets presented in the way that this company, I'm not sure which one, I think Channel 4, but I'm not sure, created this documentary. It's about, they follow the story of three buffet owners, buffet restaurants, and I think it's 3 or 4 people who just love to go to buffets, and they pin them against each other, and it's a bit like a casino, where you go and you try to win. So they follow the story of these people who go to the buffet, and they try to eat as much as they can, and get the much out of, because you pay a ticket for a buffet. I'm sure that everybody knows how a buffet works. You pay a ticket, you go inside, and you eat as much as you can. So they try to stuff their faces in. Now, that being said, that is the concept. I needed to explain to you the concept of the documentary. Otherwise, you wouldn't get such complicated piece of artwork. Okay. Now, first off, I just want to say that the narrator, uh, I think, like, this guy was tremendous. He, like, the narrator and one of the owners of the buffet, they absolutely make this documentary so magnificent. The guy had the most incredible accent, the most incredible regional British accent that I've ever heard, and I have no idea what this accent is from, to be honest with you. But he sounds he sounds tremendous. I'm gonna call him, like, I didn't see in the credits his actual name, but I'm gonna call him Johnny Accent. Okay, Johnny Mac Accent. Okay, so my suggestion is, in this country and Britain, we have this thing where you can go to the site of the government, and open a petition, right? And if you get, I think it was 100,000 signatures, which is not a lot compared to the size of the country. We're like 66 to 67 million people. 100,000, it's not that much. If you get 100,000 signatures, or I think maybe it was 50,000 or 10,000. Mate, I'm really lazy to do research. I don't know, or maybe it's 100. I don't fucking know, honestly. But let's say it's 100,000. If you get 100,000 signatures, the petition goes to the parliament and they have to discuss it. So my offering is, if somebody is listening who is good with all these nerdy tech IT shits, so he knows how to register for a petition, please open one. But my suggestion is to make the even you can frame it that way. Uh, the narrator of the Kings of the Buffet documentary, you need to put in brackets the actual name of the documentary. My suggestion is that we first of all we need to put insurance on his voice, because his voice is absolutely tremendous combined with his accent. And also somebody needs to phone those, you know, the UNESCO, is it UNESCO, United Nations, you know, those people who come over and they register. They have like this register for national, was it national heritage sites or whatever. And I want to register this man as a national British heritage site and as a national treasure. Like this man, after we finish this podcast, go. You need to watch this documentary. His voice is insane. Okay, and listen, mate. I will see the analytics. If you drop off now and you go and watch the documentary, I'll fucking find you, brother. No, I will. I won't. I'm a very peaceful guy. So even if I find you, I'll probably give you a high five and just keep on walking. Anyway, um, his voice is absolutely outstanding. So the documentary opens, and you know how sometimes they have an introduction and maybe a minute, and they have the actual name of the documentary. So I just clicked on it by accident one day when I was having food, so I didn't know what was it. So I just click on it, and it opens with this like really classical romantic music, and it starts like you know, like stuff like that. And the guy, his accent sounds very normal, by the way, from the like at the first few seconds. And he was like, there is a revolutionary, like, no, hold on. So there's a no, I'm not even trying to do his accent. Um, there's a revolution in the culinary preferences of Britain or something like that. We're no longer satisfied with just feeding our stomachs. We need to feed our soul, and it's all about not only going somewhere and getting a meal. Now it's more like getting an experience. You know, that type of shit. You know that in the office, on the people who are producing the podcast, the documentary. Sorry, you know that they've sent this to like a 20-year-old or something, and they said, okay, fucking Jennifer or Becky or whatever, like write some shit down, stuff like that. That is gonna be very popular with the young people. It's all about like feeding the mind and the soul, and shit like that. And they have like all this like really really nice classical music. They have all the buffets and stuff and blah 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 blah. So they have this presentation made of like these really really nice dishes. You know what I mean? Like fucking everything. They had like seafood. They had like all these salads, very nice presented, and all the footage is from like these kitchens, very very nice kitchens, and all the chefs are very nice, and very nice clothing, and everybody's cooking, everybody's happy. And I'm thinking like, oh, this is going to be like probably a documentary. But by that point I haven't seen the actual name of the of the documentary. I just clicked on and started watching while I was having my lunch, and I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be a documentary about like classical food or classical like cooking or five-star Michelin restaurants or something like that. And I was thinking like, oh, that's quite interesting, because these restaurants have very high standard, and it's serious business, mate. They don't fuck about these places. And I was like, oh, okay, that'll be interesting, because when I was 19 I worked in a kitchen, but it was nothing, it was not a five-star restaurant, but I've worked in the kitchen, so I have a little bit of experience, and I know how stressful it can be. And I was like, oh, okay, I might watch this. And this is like, this presentation, quote unquote, is for the first maybe 25 seconds. After 25 seconds, you have, when they play a vinyl, it's like in the cartoons and stuff, when they play a vinyl, and when they move the pin really quickly, so you have that, that sound. And so you have that sound, and the music changes instantly from like a really classical music. It goes to like really really cheesy music, like stuff like that. And the narrator, his voice just fucking changes in a matter of seconds, from like, the normal, oh, like the culinary, blah, 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 blah. He goes proper into it, mate. He goes hard in the paint. He goes fucking, it changes. And, no, oh, that changes. But the British diet, this is how he speaks. But obviously, I'm not doing justice to his accent. I cannot, recreate his magnificent accent, but he sounds something like that. So he says, forget about the five-star restaurant. No, oh fuck, I can't do his accent, mate. Like, his accent is so crazy, but he's like, we love our all-you-can-eat buffet, where you can find all your favorites. Doesn't matter how. No, even if you're really hungry. Like, he doesn't pronounce the word hungry. It's hungry. You have all your favorites. You have chips. Hundred. No, many types of curries. Fried chicken, crispy aromatic duck, and even a chocolate fountain. Like, his the guy was so emotionally invested into his work, because like he portrayed like so many emotions throughout the documentary. The guy was like, every time he needed to mention the chocolate fountain, which happened throughout the documentary, the guy almost had a heart attack of excitement. I'm not sure. I don't know where the fuck this guy grew up, but I don't know if they had many chocolate fountains in the restaurants where he grew up. He was genuinely impressed, mate. He was like, a chocolate fountain? A fountain that brings out chocolate? Oh, mate. This guy was tremendous. Like, he was genuinely excited when he needed to talk about chocolate fountains. And so yeah, so this is how the documentary starts. And I was like, oh, hold on, this is a documentary about buffets? What the fuck? And this thing is 1 hour. I've never even heard about a documentary about a buffet, mate. Who the fuck makes these things? But I think it's Channel 4, to be honest with you. I'm not sure, because the thing is, Channel 4, they kind of do stuff like that, like the more unconventional, a bit, like, because I've seen some genuinely funny documentaries. I'm not sure if this documentary is supposed to be like a comedy, because I saw it as a comedy. It was, for me, it was really, really funny. I'm not sure if this was like a serious thing. Doesn't matter. I have 7 pages of notes here, mate. So I'm gonna start reading some of the highlights. By the way, you might hear some noise from the paper and stuff, but it's show business, baby. What can you do? So yeah, so it's opening, with the whole plot twist from the beginning, and yeah, beating the buffet. So obviously, the whole concept of the documentary is about people, like I said, eat a lot, and they just try to get their money's worth. You know what I'm saying? So oh yeah, oh my god, yeah. So what they do, this is so funny. So what they do is, they before the actual introduction of the people, because there are 3 or 4 people in the actual introduction of the owners, there are just some random scenes from people from the buffet, just interviewing them, like, oh yeah, I love to go to buffets, and this we hear every weekend, stuff like that, just families and random stuff. And one of the guys, because they were saying like, oh, can you beat the buffet, and just can you get your money's worth at this, restaurant establishment? And one of the guys, it just cuts off to him, and he says, "We're British. We never give up." For a buffet, who the fuck says stuff like that in a buffet? Oh, it was so funny. But the thing is, he was not laughing. He was like dead serious when he said that, and I was like, "Oh, that's just funny." And so the thing starts, and so yeah, there are 3 buffets. One of the buffets, like a Chinese buffet. No, I'm not gonna mention names. Obviously, I'm not gonna mention names, and I don't remember. They were in different cities, but it's a Chinese buffet. Um, let's call it an Indian buffet, because I think the majority of the food was Indian, and like a mixed buffet. But I think it was mostly Asian food. So you have Chinese, Indian mix, okay, and you have the 3 owners and everything, and oh yeah, by the way, watching this buffet, I kind of realized, watching this documentary, I kind of realized that kids are really shit at buffets. I'm not joking. Like, they have no idea how to get their money's worth. because like all they ate was chips and noodles. I mean, who the fuck pays like even for kids? It's half price. It's like at least 5 or 6, 7 quid for a kid, and all they eat is like 4 plates of chips and ketchup. Like, what the fuck's wrong with these kids? And even the owners, the owners, they were saying stuff like, "Oh, we really love when we have kids over here because they don't know how to, you know." Well, they didn't say they are shit at buffets and they have no idea how to get their money's worth. Even though it would be so funny, though. You know what? They should make the same documentary, like a second part or something, but like R-rated version where you can curse and you can say outrageous shit, and I should be like the narrator. Oh, dude, can you imagine me narrating a documentary like that? It would be hilarious. I'll be like, fuck, look at you, Timmy. And you have like a little 8-year-old, and you look at you, shit, what is this nonsense, mate? Well, a plate for fucking chips and noodles and a pizza? Fuck off. You need to go for the, for the expensive items, mate. It'll be so funny though, and you can have the owners just being themselves. I'll be like, yeah, these little kids are shit, and I'll actually watch that. So we have the first person that is in the Chinese buffet, and you have this guy walking in. They introduce him. His name is Chris. So he walks in with one of his mates, right, Chris. Now, I've put notes here about the guys, like the first impression I got of the guys, and I put the note down. And on my note, it says Chris dash hard nipples. Yeah, I mean, sorry, mate, but he just walked in. I guess it was really cold in that buffet or something, but he just walked in with this, like this really, it wasn't even a shirt. I don't know what the fuck was this guy wearing. And his nipples were so fucking hard, mate. That just sounds weird. That just sounds weird saying that. You know what I mean? I'm at my home right now. The house is empty, and I'm just yelling at a microphone. His nipples were so hard, mate. No, but they were. I don't know. It's just the first impression. Hey, don't fucking judge me, bro. I'm just telling you what happened. I'm just here to entertain you. You know what I mean? I don't need your judgmental. I don't know. I'm just talking shit. But so the guy walks in with his mate, and oh fucking hell, mate, that's funny. And hold on, I need to see where to hold this fucking paper. I can't. Um, shit. Okay, so the guy walks in, right? Oh my god. So I don't know why, but when they do the little introductions in the documentaries, they usually have like a cutscene of the person, and they usually sitting on a chair, and they put their name underneath, and they have like little, oh yeah, my name is this and this and blah 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 blah, right? But I don't know why, but for this documentary, it's so stupid. So when they do the introduction, first thing they do is like this scene of the person walking in into the buffet with a sorry with a voiceover, and then they have them in the kitchen sitting in front of a table, and that table is full, and I mean full, like half of their body, you can barely see their face, you know what I mean? It's full with clean empty plates, and for some bizarre reason, the they're just two hands on each side, one hand on each side, and they start removing the plates, putting them next to each other really, really fast. And the person, they just sit there without saying anything, and everything is filled in super fast motion. So all you see is them just blinking and just moving a little bit, and these plates moving really, really fast. But it's so bizarre. And there's voiceover, like their voiceover, so you just see them blinking really fast and just saying some nonsense in a regular, speed, regular voice. And then you and then you have the camera moving from side to side. I have no idea why, but the camera is moving from side to side. And I was like, what the fuck, man? So the first guy, George, his name is George. We're gonna call him George. Oh no, mate, hold on. Is that George? Hold on. That's not George. That's Chris, mate. Oh, fucking hell. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I got too excited now. Chris. Okay, so we're gonna call him Chris Hard Nipples. Okay, that is his official nickname. Chris Hard Nipples. Sorry, mate, if you're listening, it's show business, okay? Nothing personal. Okay. Yeah, it says so. All of the contestants, they have like, usually they have nicknames, but this guy just said a buffet enthusiast. which is a really really lame name if you're a UFC fighter, and if you're because they all have nicknames and they're all like badass names, and if you're I don't know much about UFC, obviously. I mean, that's why I talk about buffet documentaries. But if with my limited knowledge about the UFC and fighting, but if your UFC nickname was like fighting enthusiast, Kevin fighting enthusiast Smith or whatever, that is weird, Like Kevin, I like to punch people in the face. Smith, I think that's a better nickname than Kevin fighting. Oh shit! Hold on. Oh, that's so stupid. Oh my god, listen, Dana White, if you're listening, and I know that you do, you can take this. You can take this nickname and trademark it, okay? Kevin fighting enthusiast Smith. That should be on a t-shirt, by the way. That is the first t-shirt we're gonna do, because I'm gonna do some merchandise in a few months, probably, or years or whatever. Kevin fighting enthusiast Smith. Okay, yeah, that's sorted. So we get this guy. Now this guy, he I didn't like him. I'm just being honest. He had too much ego, too much confidence. He was cocky, mate. He was just walking over there with his ugly shirt and his hard nipples, and he thinks that he fucking runs the place. Okay, I don't like that in a human being. You need to be a good boy or a good girl. You need to be humble. Okay, you need to be humble. So the thing is, he had a strategy, mate. Okay, this guy's not fucking about. He was teaching us how to do buffets, pretty much, and so he was telling, like, um, when you go to the buffet, hey, listen, man, you don't need to commit. Okay, you don't commit to the first thing that you see. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this fucking guy used the word commit in a buffet, like in a buffet documentary. Commit. What are you committing? What are you committing? What are you committing to, mate? Like fucking hell, some broccoli and some schnitzel or whatever. So he was like, you know what? When you go out, you don't commit to the first things that you see, okay? Because hey, you never know, man. You might turn the corner and they might have the more expensive foods there, okay? And I was like, to be honest with you, Chris, you and your hard nipples, you kind of have a point, because yeah, that is actually a good strategy. So he was like, so you do a few laps around, because he said even if you go to the same buffet many times, they kind of switch the places where they keep the food, just to keep you, confused and distracted. And I was like, okay, man, this guy may be onto something, and I got emotionally, well, not really, well, I started to get emotionally invested into this character. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And I started to trust in him. But the moment they turned the corner and they saw chicken, and he went, oh my god, look at the breasts on this chicken. Oh my god, look at them. They are so shiny and crispy. Oh my god, look at those breasts. And when I saw a grown man scream at a chicken, look at those breasts, in a buffet surrounded by bunch of random people, including children, and his friend that was with him, he was just like, not this shit again, because he's seen it all, mate. I felt sorry for his mate. Sorry, Chris, but you and your hard nipples, you just you just lost me. Okay, even I, like, if I get really excited about food most of the time, but even I don't scream, look at those breasts at chicken. I scream that only when I see women. No, I'm joking. Oh, and I'm cancelled. No, I'm joking. And but yeah, this guy was like, oh my god, look at the breast. So he put, his food on the plate. He went, sit down, and he started talking rubbish, because he thought that he was the shit. Okay, now we have buffet number two, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a new contestant. Are you ready? Are you ready for a new character and this developing story? Oh, yes, you're at the edge of your seats right now, because by this point, we're maybe not even 7 minutes in, and I'm already invested into this documentary. I'm thinking like I'm going all the way. Baby, baby, baby. Okay? Because the doors slowly open, and this fucking humongous guy walks in called George We're gonna call him Jordy Boy. Okay, my man. Big J. JJ. JJ. Big J. Big G is in the building. Yeah, I'm gonna call him Big G. George. Georgie, my boy. He walks in huge, big lad. Okay, this guy is not fucking about mate. And but then something else happened. He sits down. His nickname is All You Can Eat. George, All You Can Eat. And they do that stupid stuff with the plates again, the introduction. And he says, yeah, I can easily do 10 to 12 plates of food. And I'm like, hold on. What? 12 plates of food? Are you kidding me? This is a massive guy, ladies and gentlemen. And he said, oh, do you know how the narrator introduced him? Of course you don't. That's why you're listening to this podcast. Come on, mate. The narrator said, George has been banned from his local buffet and he came to this one now. Yeah, mate. So you can imagine if you're banned from your local buffet, fucking hell, it takes a lot to be banned from your local buffet. And then he came to this one. So I was thinking, like, like they're gonna be in serious trouble. And the best part about this scene, and yes, I'm calling this a scene because by this point, this is not a documentary, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a YouTube clip. This is not something that some intern, did as a fun project or as a hobby. No, this is a masterpiece. This is a tale. This is a novel in a visual way. Okay, because you have characters and it's getting even more interesting now because you know what? Because we get introduced officially to the Indian buffet owner. Oh shit. Yes, chapter 2 of the book. Bitch, what's up? Okay, and his name is Minaj. Oh yeah, big big M, what's up? Minaj. Now the thing is, on the introduction. His introduction, by the way, was completely. No, his introduction was really good. He was just sitting, and in the background they had like the buffet with a bit of the lights off and like few colorful lights on, like blue and like red or something lights on. It looked really really nice, and he has a really nice shirt, his little suit, everything. Well, not little. He was like a big fella, but like his suit and everything. It looked really professional. This guy, like, I don't know why, but so it's Monag, Monage, I think. Sorry, I'm really bad with names. Like I'm genuinely bad with pronunciation of names, but I think that's maybe that's Indian. I'm not sure. The name, I'm not sure what that name is from, but Monage. But I don't know why. But everybody, even himself, no, he didn't talk about himself, but everybody said Minaj in the movie. So I'm just gonna refer to him as Minaj. Now, I just wanna say that Minaj, he stole the show, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that he stole my heart as well because this man was absolutely tremendous. Okay, not only a performance of a lifetime, but if we can give some award to this man for a person of the year or something, I'm okay with that. Okay, Times Magazine, I'll give you a call after this podcast. We need to talk, baby, because this guy is tremendous. Okay, the whole time smiling. The whole movie he was smiling. Okay, there were ups, there were downs, there were some crucial moments, there were a bit of drama, maybe some fighting, action, well, obviously I cannot pronounce that word, but you know what I mean. A movie that there's a lot of suspense. Let's just put it that way. He was smiling throughout the whole time. He was always happy, always cheerful, always ready to help out people. He was like a big lad, but I think his heart was even bigger. Okay, and Minaj, I just want to say, sir, that he reminded me of like a Disney character. You know those comic relief characters in a Disney movie? Like the big lads, cheerful, smiling, helping everybody. Everybody likes them. Hospitality and all that stuff. That's Minaj. Person of the year, easily. Okay, I just want to say that Minaj, if you're listening, and I know that you are, I said to myself when I started this podcast, and I announced on the first episode that this podcast is gonna be solo one. I'm not going to have any guests. Okay, but okay, this is official. This is exclusive. This is the Mike Yanek show exclusive. Exclusive. I just want to say that you have an invitation. Yes, you have an official invitation, Minaj, to be a guest on this podcast. I'm not even joking. Because listen, the only people that I'll make an exception, for order for them to come to this podcast and be a guest are heads of state, right? If you're president of a country or a prime minister, you will get an invitation. If you are a Nobel Prize winner, you receive an invitation. I will even scoop that low to consider nominees. Okay, even if you're nominated for a Nobel Prize, you will get a nomination. And if you're really famous, okay, if you're Leonardo DiCaprio, you have an invitation. You can come to my flat. I live in Liverpool. We do the podcast. Who else? Jennifer Lopez. I think she's relatively famous. Shakira, Britney Spears, everything. Okay, and also people who captured my heart and my imagination. Okay, and Minaj, you definitely did that. So if you ever hear this, Minaj, I just want you to know you have an official invitation to be a guest on my podcast, and this is not a joke, okay? And why Minaj is so phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I'll tell you why. Because George sat down on the table, Minaj just looked at him, and he knew that this boy can eat, okay? And Minaj was so polite, so friendly. He introduced himself to the camera. He said, I've been owner of the shop, of the buffet for how many years. He explained how everything worked. He went over to George, shake his hand, and he said hello. Is that the first time that you're here? And George said, yeah, I've been banned from other buffets, so that's why I'm here. And Channel 4 said they're gonna give me some free chips. No, George didn't say that. I'm sorry, George, this is show business. Okay, so Minaj, he was like, can I offer you something to drink? The narrator cuts in and he says, funnily enough, the buffets make more money from their drinks than from their food, because one big pint of like a Pepsi or a fizzy drink or whatever costs the buffet around 15 pence, and they can easily sell it for like £2. And I was like, fucking hell, that's a huge margin, just for a Coke or Pepsi or whatever. And Minaj was like, and the narrator said, so if Minaj just offers him a few drinks, he'll be he'll make some money, so he wouldn't even worry how much food the guest is going to eat. So George just looked at him and said, pint of water will be fine, mate. Ha, got him. Got him. And Minaj, he was not happy though. Ooh, hold on. I need to have a drink. Minaj was not happy. He was like, oh yeah, of course, no problem. He was smiling and being polite and shit, but he was thinking like, ah, god damn it. Then, so we have so George hits the buffet, right? He hits the buffet. He said that he can eat around 12 plates, which I was very, very impressed by that time, because I was really wondering, like how much does it cost, for this buffet to produce the food. So Minaj, he did like this little speech, and he was just telling how much it costs them for a plate, of food to produce the food. So, which I was very surprised. So, for a starter, it costs £1.30 for a single plate, full solid plate of food. And I was like, wow, I was not expecting that. I was expecting at least £3. And I was thinking, because when I went to the buffet, I ate, I think, three plates, three and a half max, and I paid 15 quid, and I thought, oh, I definitely got my money's worth. But then I was like so surprised. I was like, what, £1, £1 30? Then he said that the main was £1 15. I couldn't believe that. This is like the cost plus the preparation as well. I was like, fucking hell. And I was not expecting that. And by that time, George eaten 5 plates. So yeah, he's a big boy. He eats a lot. Okay, let me see the other notes. Hold on, let me put my newspaper here. Paper here. Okay, so we have Minaj. What is that? Yeah, he was just explaining like the most that he's ever seen a person eat is 8 solid plates of food. This is the most that he's ever seen, so you can imagine, you know. Um, and he was explaining that that people, they just come and they just try to eat as much as possible. You know what I mean? And just stuff their self silly and they cannot even walk, but just with the idea to beat the buffet. And he's laughing and smiling. He's like, "Oh, I've seen it. Oh, I've been in this industry for so many years." You know what I mean? And yeah, so they have all of a sudden they had, they cut away from George. George, he's eating his food and stuff, but all of a sudden they had like all these kids because they had like a party or something, and they have oh, sorry mate, hold on, and they had all these kids, and he was saying like, "Oh, we love the kids because all they have is the chips and the noodles, and which is the cheapest price in the menu." And the narrator goes like, "Those kids don't know how to eat at a buffet. All they have is chips. Chips are cheap. Cheapest chips. Eat some of the bloody expensive food, kids. Stuff like that." And you can see all these kids fucking running around, mate. Like, he said that they had 150 kids, like at that time, maybe some birthdays or something, like a few birthdays. These kids are fucking running everywhere, mate. It's fucking mayhem. And you can see Minaj, I think that allegedly he wanted to like headbutt, not headbutt, but just, when the kids are like running, he just wants to like hit them with a knee or something, just knee him in the head, like at least one, just he looked so annoyed, but he's like, he's professional, mate. He's been in this game for fucking 20 years or whatever. He's seen it all, and he's just like, oh yeah, we love the kids, and he's probably thinking, just wanna fucking punch one of these little bastards, and allegedly, okay, you're a good guy, Minaj. It's show business. I'm just joking, and and but all of a sudden they kind of like run out of ketchup, and and I don't know why, because they all eat chips with ketchup. And he was like, "Oh, chef," he's calling the chef, and one of the chefs come, "More ketchup, please, more ketchup." And the chef comes out with this fucking huge bucket, mate. Okay, a bucket of ketchup. He just, you know, pouring it into this fucking huge, I don't know, like, what was it, like a bowl or something. And the kids are just running everywhere, and Minaj is saying like, "Oh, we always say to the kids, have all the food, taste as much as you want, don't only have the chips and the noodles." But you can see him smiling because these are the cheapest options on the menu, and he's making a huge profit. Anyway, so they cut back to George, and George, man, he's proper eating, you know what I mean? Like, he's eaten, let me have a look how many plates. He's eaten 4 plates by now. George. Oh no, sorry, mate. So we go back to. Hold on, what was the name of the second guy? Hold on. Hold on, so what's the name of the first guy? Hard nipples. Hard nipples guy. Chris. So why did I put George in here? Hold on. It says George. Back to George. Play. No. Okay. So Chris. Yeah, mate. I have so many notes over here. You should see the podcast. Like, at least this one, I kind of know the story. The first podcast that I'm not ever going to release, it was a complete shit show. So we go back to George. No, to Chris. Hard nipples, Chris. And so he's eaten 4 plates by this point, and I'm thinking like, oh, okay, he's doing well so far. But remember at the beginning he said, "Oh, I have a strategy. Don't fill up on the cheap foods that they're gonna fill you up very quickly." Well, he's walking around. Yeah, that guy who was screaming at chicken breasts, that same guy, hard nipples Chris, and he sees like this fucking huge. I don't know what is the name of the actual stuff that they place the food in. Doesn't matter. This container or whatever of seaweed. It's Chinese restaurant, so they have stuff like that. It's like I don't even think it's classified as a salad. It's just seaweed. This guy loses it. Okay, loses it. He was like, "Oh my god, look at all that seaweed." He made a mountain on his plate of seaweed, and he looks so fucking excited. Okay, he's loving it, mate. And so by this point, they cut to the owner of the Chinese buffet, and this is the official introduction. I don't know if it's the owner or the manager, doesn't matter. His name, I think, is David. Yeah, David, Big David. My boy David. Okay, he's a cheeky boy, man. I like David because David's funny. He looks like the type of guy Like the way he spoke is because he's on camera and he's a boss, so he needs to have some sort of he needs to follow some standards and rules. But I'm sure that when he's not working at home or in the pub with his mates, he's the guy who's always making the jokes and like kind of busting your balls and roasting you a bit. This is the vibe that he gave me, and I love people like that. So I really like David, and they cut. When so you have hard nipples George sitting down. No, it's not George. What's his name? Chris. Fucking hell. Hard nipple. What? I should have written down all the names to the side, but I didn't. Fuck it. I've done like fucking 3 hours, 4 hours talking about this buffet, and I watch it 3 times as well. So you have hard nipples Chris sitting down with this mountain of seaweed, and at the same time they cut straight away to the kitchen, and you have David standing in front of this fucking. It's not a bucket, mate. It's a container. It's the size of a wheelie bin. You know what I mean? This fucking massive container of seaweed, and you have this Asian chef sitting like looking very stoic. By the way, with this, I think did he have a knife? Well, let's say he had a knife. It would be more funny if he had like a butcher knife in his hand. I think he didn't have a knife, but fuck it. He had a butcher knife in his hand and just looking like a mafia bodyguard. And David is saying, I'll tell you what, a secret about our seaweed. It's actually cabbage. And I was like, hold on, what? Yeah, and even the narrator went, "What cabbage?" Like he fucking exclaimed, and I was like, so David said, "Yeah, it's sliced cabbage, thinly sliced cabbage, fried, and put some seasoning on it." And he said it costs me, I don't know, like 10 pence a bucket or something. You know what I mean? It's super super cheap. And at that point, they cut to fucking hard nipples Chris, and he's fucking stuffing his face. And oh, you know what happened? Oh my god, he made this really stupid joke right before he started eating the food. He said to his friend, so he just looked him in the eyes and he said, "You know what? I think they should rename all the buffets from all you can eat to all you can eat seaweed." And that's it. And he just stared at him with that smirk on his face, like, "Yeah, I'm the funniest guy around, mate. What you gonna do about it?" And I was like, fucking hell, mate. It's a really, really bad joke. Honestly, there's no punchline, no nothing. I mean, I'm not that funny. Fair enough. I'm a comedian. I'm not that funny. But even I know that that joke is shit. And he said that joke probably millions of times because his mate was like, "Oh, fucking hell, not this shit again, mate. Hold on. Oh, Chris, what are you doing to me, mate? Fucking hell." Okay, anyway. So he's eating and stuff. He's just stuffing his face. Now we cut back to George. So George, he's in Minaj's buffet, and George, he is fucking, mate. He's putting these plates away. He's not fucking about, honestly. Like by this point, he has 6 plates, and the thing is, the only thing he eats is chicken tikka masala. Now, I'm sure everybody in the world knows what that is. But if you don't know, that is like an Indian dish, traditional, probably one of the most traditional dishes. With it's chicken breasts with like this delicious curry, yellowy sauce and stuff. It's amazing. But you need to have it with something else. You need to have rice or chips or whatever. This guy was not even having rice, mate. He was just eating chicken tikka masala. So 6 fucking solid plates. That's kilos. That's like kilograms of chicken breasts and sauce. You know what I mean? And this guy had like a determined look on his face. Minaj comes over and he's like, "Oh, are you enjoying yourself?" He's trying to offer him some drinks or some bread or something, so he can fill up more quickly. George is like, "Yeah, it's good. Food's really nice. I'm just getting started. And he's like, "Oh, enjoy yourself. He's super polite and smiley, but you can see a look in his eyes like, if you I'm polite now, but if you push me, I will fucking finish you." No, he didn't. He was really friendly, but I thought it would be funny if I said stuff like that. Minaj, you're still invited to the show. I love you. Okay, and so so they still stay in Minaj's buffet, and they show out the buffet. The narrator is talking some crazy shit. Now, actually, George finishes. He did 6 plates and a half. He couldn't finish the 7th one completely, and everybody was like, "What? what? Sorry, what? Nobody couldn't believe it because like I thought that he's gonna eat at least 8 or 9, and I was like really really surprised, and I was like, fucking hell. And Minaj was visibly happy because they asked him, like, how much did he beat the buffet? But he said no, because, it's like it was like 120, 140 a plate. He eats 6 plates and a half. It's okay. He paid, I don't know, 15 quid or something, 12 to get in. So he was really, really happy. And he said, yeah, but he put up a good fight, blah, blah, blah. And the narrator, he's giving you, like, tips now how to beat the buffet. He was like, what we've learned so far. So he's pretty much doing a recap of the show so far, and he's telling you, stay away from the chips and the noodles, go for the fish, meats, and the more expensive stuff like the duck and all that stuff. I like how this podcast is educational as well, by the way. So people have actual tips now how to beat the buffet. Um, so we're 25 minutes in now, and I'm completely emotionally invested. I've stopped eating my food because I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And 25 minutes in, nobody has beaten the buffet. Nobody has even come close. Like Harnipo Chris, he fucked off. He's out of it. George, 6.5 plates of chicken breasts and sauce. He didn't beat the buffet, and everybody looks happy. The owners, they look very pleased, and all of a sudden, at the Chinese buffet, guess what happens? They bring a fucking rugby team, mate. A fucking rugby team. 9 blokes called. The team was called the Bombers. 9 blokes. They're fucking huge with the American football with the protection and all that stuff, the helmets and everything. I think they just finished practice. It was lunchtime, so they just came in and everybody was like, "Oh fuck," like the owner and the staff members. They were just looking at each other like, "What the fuck is this?" And they were massive lads and they were really hungry and they paid I think like £8 or something because lunchtime during the week. And so they get in and they start filling up on food, all that stuff. They do little jump scenes here and there, and all of a sudden, so 26 minutes in, a new player comes in. Oh yes, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? So we have two characters that have already gone. We can, they kill them off or something like Games of Thrones style. But now we have more people. Oh, you think the 9 bombers are not enough for you? Oh, baby, baby. We have this guy who is a professional, and I mean professional with a capital P. Professional eater, baby. He's like one of the top professional eaters in the UK. He's won like championships and world tournaments. His name is Adam. Beard meets food. That's his nickname. Oh, he is a gangster. He is a savage. He even wears a cap because he doesn't give a fuck. Okay? You think he's scared of you? He even has his own merchandise, and I'm not joking. He had a T-shirt with "Beard meets food" and his like stencil or whatever underneath. And but I don't know why they just kind of cut to this American style diner, which was really kind of interesting because I thought that everything is going to be in the buffets and stuff. But anyway, so they cut to this American style diner. Um, Sorry, just give me a second. Oh, I need to have some water, mate. Fucking hell. I don't do any edits on this podcast, so it's just all natural. And I don't know why, but it's called what's the name of it? I mean, not the name of the restaurant, but it's like food eating challenge restaurant or something. I forgot the name of it, something like that. So Adam goes in. He's treated like a celebrity, by the way. I'm not joking. Like, I guess competitive eating is a community. I didn't know, and I guess he's a very big deal. He's treated like a celebrity there. Okay, so he walks in, and everybody's like, "Wow, yeah, the mother's here." He goes in, and then they cut to the owners, and they do that stupid introduction with the plates again, and they say, "Oh man, it was Sarah and somebody else. They're a couple, and they said this is one of the first eating challenge restaurants in the UK." Blah 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 blah. And they said one of our most popular challenge. It's called. Hold on, before I tell you the name, the narrator cuts and he says, "If you feel brave enough, hungry, or criminally insane, you can order the what's it? Armageddon Yeah, I cannot say the word Armageddon in that accent. Sorry, Armageddon challenge. So which is around 20 burgers on top of each other. This thing was absolutely insane. I'm not joking, and it's really really tall. And the owner says, "Oh, we're not only about food, we're about experiences." And I was like, "What type of are you kidding me? Somebody's gonna fucking die at this place. What type of experience are you offering people?" You know what I mean? Anyway, they look like humble, nice people. I wish them all the best. And so Adam sits down, and she says, "Adam is going to attempt one of our second most no." He's going to attempt our most difficult challenge, which is called man, a bit sexist, by the way. It should be people. Okay, it's 2000. It's 2020, bitch. Okay, um, it's called Man versus Dog, and I was like, what the fuck, are they gonna eat a dog or something? And she shows this. It's not even a hot dog, mate. You know, a hot dog, like the normal hot dog. This thing, you know, the tiger bread in the UK. Take a tiger bread, full bread, and a half, and just put like 20 hot dogs. Just cut it in the middle and stuff 20 hot dogs. So they have this huge thing which is like a loaf of bread opened with 20, I think it was around, no, I don't know, maybe 10 hot dogs. 10 hot dogs, chili con carne, just fucking a bucket a bucket of this shit, and a mountain of cheese, shredded cheese. And you have two of these, two hot dogs. And she said the hot dog challenge has 4 feet of hot dog. I was like, what the fuck, man? I'm 5'5", okay? So you can imagine how much this is like. Well, it's not as much as tall as me, but still, you know what I mean? Like fucking hell, mate. And so it was Adam and his mate, and they sit down, and they had 1 hour to finish it. And he's like, it's so funny though, because you know all these the the professional eaters and stuff, they have strategies. They don't just go and eat like me and you, just fucking start eating. They have strategies. So you have Adam, so he's just stuffing like hot dogs. The first thing he does, he doesn't even, he just swallows them. He doesn't even chew them. He just keeps stuffing hot dogs in his mouth, and they're like 20 hot dogs. And then he takes a spoon and starts scooping up the cheese, just cheese, nothing else. And I'm like, oh my god. Then he eats the chilenka carne, and then he gets the bread, which is like a fucking loaf, and dips it in water, and so he could fucking swallow it. And I was like, Jesus, man. Anyway, people are going insane. By the way, there's an audience. People are filming. People are clapping. There was one granny. I don't know, maybe his relative or something. She was going insane. She was like, "Come on, Adam, go, Adam. We trust you. We believe in you. Ah, make us proud." She was going insane. Oh, sorry. I'm making too much noise now with the cable. She was going absolutely insane, mate. I was like, fucking hell. But you know what happened? Adam actually finished it in 54 minutes. I was so impressed. You know what I mean? Like, I was really really impressed. And they gave him an interview after. He went out. He almost puked. I think he puked after the camera went off. He was not okay. And they asked the owner, so what does he win? And he says he wins so the challenge costs 20 pounds. He wins that money back in vouchers that you can use in the restaurant. So, so I was like, fucking hell. So if you don't complete the challenge, so you pay 20 quid no matter what, as far as I understood. I'm not sure. I don't know. I was not paying attention by this point. No, I'm joking. And so Adam, he's out there, hustling. They go back to the rugby players. Now the rugby players have eaten 5 plates each. Okay, that is how many bombers we have. Let me have a look. I have the statistics. That's 9 bombers. Okay, that is 45 plates so far, and they've put the plates, on the table, like, because this is part of the stuff. So I don't know if I mentioned. So when they finish a plate, they don't take the plate and, you know what I mean, to the kitchen or anything. They just leave it on the table, the dirty plate, because they need to show how much they've eaten. This is part of the documentary. And when you eat, you have a table to yourself. So the bombers have 45 plates so far, dirty plates on one end of the table. That is a lot of plates. And by the way, when they show the chefs all the time, they the chefs looked so fucking annoyed, to be honest with you, and so pissed, because it's like, it's, oh my god, it's probably so difficult to work in a restaurant like that, to be a chef. You know what I mean? Like, fucking hell. I They cook insane amount of food, and they even switch backstage, yeah, backstage to the kitchen. And they were showing, like, one of the chefs in the Chinese restaurant, the head chef. He was explaining how much food they produce each week or each day, for because they had 10 branches across the country, and everything, so you can get a perspective. There was no liters, no like grams or whatever, like a pint of this or a pint of that. Everything was in buckets, everything was in fucking containers. um you know what I mean? It's like sweet and sour sauce. Oh yeah, we go through like 4 containers a day or something, and everything they store the food in was like like buckets and stuff. You know what I mean? Like he was showing the rice. He says we go through 3 tons of rice a week for all the 10 branches, and he said one car weighs ton and a half. That's like 2 cars, so you can imagine what quantities. If he's doing a comparison with fucking cars, and buckets and wheelie bins and elephants and whatever, you know what I mean? And at the same time, was as he is explaining, they show these 2 guys with these huge wooden paddles or whatever, like the cricket paddles, and just stirring this huge, like wheelie, the size of a wheelie bin. It was obviously not a wheelie bin, but something massive like this container, and they're just stirring raw chicken breasts with spices. And he said, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be for today, like today and tomorrow." And I was like, "Fucking hell, mate!" Like the amount of food these people cook is absolutely insane. You know what I mean? Sorry, it's absolutely insane, mate. Like fucking hell. So I was like, I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing my face off. He was showing the eggs, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go to, I don't know, like a." He said they go through, I think, like a few thousand eggs a day or something, and he said we're gonna go through like 20,000 a week or some like an insane number of eggs. You know what I mean? And then so they cut back to the bombers, the rugby players, 65 plates, and all of a sudden one of the, oh, you know how they, so when you film a documentary, you have let's say the documentary is 1 hour, but they're gonna film many hours. You know what I mean? Because they just need to have footage, just in case. Sometimes they do longer interviews. Sometimes they just leave the camera in the place and they just film for like half an hour. Just people walking and just normal interactions, and then they speed up the footage and stuff like that. Because in 2013, I went. They were filming like. I think it was like a movie, like an amateur movie or something. It was like 15 minutes, and it was like a drama or something. It took. We were there for 10 hours for 15 minutes, and for a YouTube, I wouldn't even call it a movie because it takes fucking ages. And like they filmed so much stuff for this documentary, I'm sure. And one of the things, and you can see that they just left the camera, and all of a sudden one of the chefs comes out, and everybody's looking at the bombers. By the way, by this point, like all the staff members, all the chefs and everything, everybody's really pissed. And they just look at the bombers, 65 plates, and the guy comes out and he's like, we're running out of plates now. Which they did. I mean, fucking, they only 65, and they keep eating, and the owner, mate, the owner, not David, not Minaj, another guy. There's the third guy. I don't remember his name. Sorry, mate. And they just fucking keep on stuffing their faces in, and they finished. They finally finished, and they did the calculation. And I wrote down the statistic here, which is absolutely tremendous. So take a guess, mate. Take a guess how many fucking plates these people finished. So they finished 65 plates between them. 60 fucking 5 plates, which is insane. The bombers, okay? So we have the statistic here. So the owner said that 1.44 is the average cost of a plate. So 65 plates by 144, that's 93 quid and 60 pence, okay? 9 bombers by 8 quid, because they paid 8 quid to get in, that's 72 pounds. So 21 quid loss, and the owner was fuming. He was not happy, mate. Honestly, like you can see it on his face. He was like, "Oh yeah, well, it happens. I'm happy that they enjoyed the food, that they had fun, blah 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 blah." He was not happy, mate. Honestly, like fucking hell. And but she was getting serious now. And this is the bombers. Okay, so they finish with the bombers and they switch back to Adam the Beard. And this is like one of the best parts, mate. They said, because he finished that restaurant in that little cafe or whatever with the food, so they sent him to the Chinese restaurant, because David's place, okay, because nobody has managed to beat the buffet at David's, and he's all confident and relaxed and loose, and all of a sudden Adam comes. When you see him, he's like an average guy. He said that he weighs 165 pounds, which I have no idea how much is that in kilograms, but that's probably around 70, 80 kilos. It's not that much. And he looks like a completely normal guy, so he just walks in, and the receptionist asks him like, "Oh, for how many people?" And he just like, just by myself, But he looks like a really chilled out, like a really nice vibe type of guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that you can be like a mates with this guy easily and just have like a really really fun time, and just goes to buffets and try to eat them out of business and stuff. Just eat hamburgers all day and shit. So he walks in, and they see him automatically, and they completely underestimate him like straight away. They're like, he's not gonna be a threat, he's not gonna be a problem, blah 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 blah. Right? So he just goes in, he slowly makes his way, and he starts, filling up his plates and stuff, and he starts eating, and he just starts putting plates away, mate. I'm not joking. This guy, and the thing is, he didn't talk any shit, unlike hard nipples, and even George as well. He was a bit cocky as well, to be honest with you. Like, what the fuck, mate? He did only 6 plates and a half. You need to get your shit together, mate. I know that you're listening, and I'm not talking shit because I'm genuinely scared of you. You're a big lad, but please, mate, if you want, I can give you some coaching. I can be like a life coach. Anyway, so David, he just, no, not David, Adam, sorry. So Adam, he just starts, and they cut back now. So we go back to Minaj, okay, my man Minaj. Okay. Oh, mate, this is a crazy part. So, this is during the weekend now, because they film these documentaries in a few days. It's not like they go film in an hour and leave. So this is during the weekend, and two girls try just run away without paying, and which is kind of strange because in our buffet you have a ticket system. So you go in, you get a ticket, and you eat and you stay as much as you can, and you leave. But I think, sorry, but I think in Minaj's case, it's you need to go, and you finish eating and then you pay, which is kind of risky, to be honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't do that. But hey, Minaj, I'm not telling you how to run your business, mate. Okay. And anyway, so two girls run away without paying, and you can see, how they do um in the like detective shows or like cops or the reality television, when they chase somebody, like the camera starts shaking, and when something happens, they break off, they go off script and stuff. Same stuff happens here. It's like all the people who work there, they just come all of a sudden, they're like, oh my god, Minaj, something happened, I think two girls left without paying, blah 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 blah. He's like, really really, yeah, let's go to the back. And they just start running. They go to the back where all the cameras are, and they check the cameras, and the narrator says, like, over Detective Minaj is on the case. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this just turns from the most beautiful buffet food oriented documentary, this just turns to a detective show. And yes, Detective Minaj, Detective Minaj on the case, right? So he's looking up at the cameras, and he sees, like the replay and stuff, that they leave without paying. And he's like, okay, let's go, let's go. So he goes with one of the waiters, and he goes outside, and he finds them, and he starts, like, there's a voiceover of him talking and say, look, if, no, actually, they cut to him. He goes outside, but they cut to him while he's given an interview, and he says, look, if somebody doesn't pay, we need to, they need to pay. This is part of the rules. I hope that, they enjoy our, the time with us. If there is an issue, just come and talk with us. If they don't like the food or something's wrong, but you cannot just leave and not pay. If you don't pay, I will chase you down, and I'll catch you. And Minaj, I fucking love you, bro. And 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 then they cut to a scene where Minaj is walking with his hands in his pockets, and the narrator says, "Well, I wouldn't really call that a chase, Minaj, would I?" Fucking roasting him. Oh, that narrator is so good though, and but they eventually, because they call the police, so they catch them, and Minaj goes, "Oh, hold on." Oh, it's getting very hot in here in this room. Fucking, I need to turn off the heat. And Minaj eventually goes, you know, So what happened, and the girl, by the way, the girl, they blur out her face, so you know that this is a cop show now. This is not no more a friendly buffet documentary. This is shit. This is really shit. Even the music changes and everything becomes a bit more darker and stuff, you know what I mean? So Minaj is like, oh, what happened? And the girl's like, oh, no, no, here you go, 16 pounds, 16 pounds. And he was like, but what happened? You left and is everything okay? She's like, no, no, well, but he said, but you went in and you had some food. And he was like, no, I only had two chicken nuggets and stuff like that. And so she ran off because he was like, what's your name? And she was like, no, it doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Anyway, so they cut back to Minaj with holding the money, by the way, showing the money to the showing the money to the camera. And he was like, well, I mean, you have to pay. And honest citizen, I don't know, maybe, but maybe do they really forgot to pay? I don't know, blah blah blah. He's still smiling, by the way. He's being positive. He's super positive. This guy's role model to the community. Honestly, like, listen to me, mate. I Minaj, this fucking guy, honestly, like, he's amazing. Listen, Minaj, I know that you're listening to this, mate. And one day in a few years, when I start doing my, one man show, like an hour show, and when I start selling tickets and stuff, I will find out where is this buffet located, in which city, because I didn't really find out from the documentary. And I will send, when I'm doing a show in your city, I will send you tickets to you and your family to come and join me. You can even sit on the first row, and I'm not, and I wouldn't even roast you. And I really love to roast the audience, but I wouldn't even roast you. That's how fucking good this guy is. Honestly, he he fucking made this documentary for me. And he went inside and stuff. And they're cutting back, to Adam. And Adam is fucking cleaning the house, mate. This guy, so far, he's done, I don't know, like 9 plates, 10 plates, whatever, easily, and he's not even stopping, mate. Like the owner, David, my guy, Big D, he's fucking sweating, mate. He's sweating bullets. He's pretend that everything's okay. He was like, oh no, it's okay. I've seen people eat more. I hope that he's enjoying the food and he's having a fun time. This guy is fucking eat, mate. But the thing is, he was like a really messy eater. and he has a big beard. I don't know if I told you that, like a big beard. And they switched to one of the receptionists, and he was like, oh my god, look the way he's eating. He has food all over him. And like, if he's eating like that in public, I can just imagine how he's eating in private. And he's shaming him. And I was like, what the fuck are you what the fuck are you doing? Like, she was bitter. I think she was really bitter because this guy was cleaning house. And even the narrator the narrator, he said, even though David's beard smells of chips and curry. Poor Adam. You know what I mean? I feel sorry for him. The guy's just out there, you know what I'm saying, fucking smashing the buffets, and you're like shaming the poor fella. You know what I mean? And anyway, but he just keeps cleaning the housemate. He finished. He went for the dessert, and they were fucking relieved. He was like, "Oh my god, fucking!" After an hour of straight eating with no breaks, just an hour of eating, and they were all like relieved and stuff. He finished the dessert, so David was like, "Okay, let's inspect the damage." So he went over and he was like, "How are you? Are you enjoying yourself?" Blah blah blah. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then he count the plates. Just, do you want to know how many plates he did? You will not believe how many plates, because you think I'm making this shit up. He did 21 plates of food. Yes, mate, 21 plates of food. I know right now you're like, hold on, hold on, hold on. How many? How many plates of food, man? Goddamn. Yeah, 21 plates of food, mate. What the fuck? This guy's a savage. Okay, Adam, you a gangster, mate. Follow this guy on Instagram or whatever the fuck he does for a living. And David counted the cost, and he said, oh, you easily did 40 quid. Easily. And he paid, I think, a tenner to get in. He fucking run him out of business, mate. And I was thinking, like, can you imagine if this guy goes 4 times a week and does that type of damage? And he said, it's very good if you're a competitive eater to go to places like that, because you can train, for relatively cheap. And David was like, oh, did you enjoy the food? And he was like, yeah, yeah. He was like, do you plan to come again? He was like, oh, this is very nice. I'll probably come again. Probably come again soon. And he was like, oh, so next time I know to charge you 3 times as much. Ha ha ha. He did like a little joke, but I think he actually meant it. Because this guy was gangster, man. Honestly, like, fuck it. He completely clear the house, and pretty much this is the end. But this is like 2 minutes before, so the only person that beats the buffet is Adam as a single person, and the bombers. But the bombers are like 9 people, in all fairness. I mean, and they beat the buffet with like 20 quid, and Adam beat it with like 30 because he did easily 40 quid. Anyway, so this is almost the end. And now, are you ready for this, ladies and gentlemen? And this is why this is one of the best pieces of art ever made. You know why? Because with 2 minutes before the finish, and bam, they introduce a new character, mate. They introduce a new character. How fucking ballsy of a move is that? 2 minutes before the fucking thing finishes, and you're going to introduce a new character, eh? Yeah, mate, exactly. And this character, because you know what, I think that they should do like a sequel. I think they should do a sequel to this documentary, and I think this documentary, by the way, has more than a million views on YouTube. So you know what I mean. This shit has an audience, and and oh god, you know what I should do? I should post in the comments. I'm not joking. Like when this podcast goes out on, it's everywhere, but it's gonna be on YouTube as well. So I should post in the comments. I did a review of this documentary, a 1 hour and a half or whatever review of a 45 minutes documentary. Anyway, so they introduce a new character, mate. How fucking ballsy move is that? And you know what she is? She is the absolute villain of this thing. She is the Thanos. She is the Thanos of this buffet universe. Hold on. Water break, okay? So they have Mary, and Mary, oh my god. I need to do a few quotes of Mary. So first of all, she is like a they say Mary, they do that stupid introduction with the plates again, and they say Mary, and underneath it says first time buffet goer, okay? And she was like, she was like, my name's Mary, and this is the first time I go to a buffet. Well, she doesn't really sound like that, but it's showbiz. What can you do? I was classically trained in cordon bleu cookery. Cordon bleu cookery. What the fuck is a cordon bleu cookery? That cook. What's that? Cookery. Yeah, cookery. I don't know. That's 100% like a French thing, like cordon bleu cookery. Cookery. I don't fucking know. Who gives a shit? I don't know, some posh nonsense. Anyway, so she's like, she really disdains buffets. She even says, I think that the food in the buffets is in such a poor quality that it's fit only for pigs. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that correct, and now you know why she is the Thanos of the buffet universe, because she said that the food and these type of buffets is suitable only for pigs. Yeah, Mary, boom, what's up? Okay, you wanna fight about it? We can fight about it. Okay, I just wanna say to you, Mary, that buffets, they might not have the 5-star Michelin cookery garden blue food that you're used to, but I can tell you, these are some good people. The clients are good people. The cooks, they fucking work their asses off, Mary. No need to be a villain. But you know what happened, ladies and gentlemen? Plot twist. After 1 hour and eating a few dishes, few plates, Mary, because she had a advisor or a fucking tourist guy, a tour guide or whatever at the buffet, Mary actually liked it. She was like, oh my god, you know what? After spending 1 hour here, this food is not that bad. The food is actually quite enjoyable, and I don't know how it's physically possible, but the people in here, they're actually not bad. They're human. I was very surprised to find that. Yes, Mary, these people are human, and they're fucking awesome, and they're fucking great. And you know what, Mary? Bye-bye. I'm gonna tell you what. You know what happened? Something that nobody expected, including me, to be honest with you. After 8 o'clock on the weekends, I suppose, I'm not sure about the time, but let's just say after 8 o'clock on the weekends, menage, okay? And now you're gonna understand why this man, this institution of the buffet world has an invitation to this podcast, because after 8 o'clock, his show, his buffet turns to a show, turns to a fucking disco, mate, and a karaoke bar. And if you think I'm joking, watched the fucking documentary at the end. I was like, this is the greatest shit I've ever seen in my life, because they have like these, those multi-colorful, really annoying lights at the disco. Yeah, that shit started blasting everywhere. Music started playing at a buffet, and you know who is the compere, who is the MC, who is the master of ceremony? Minaj. Yeah, he just goes with the microphone. Hey, how's everybody doing? Everybody's like, "Wow, Minaj, we love it." He pretty much gets the same reaction I get when I walk down the street. People are losing this shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh my god, we love you. And he was like, he was like, are you enjoying the food? Everybody's like, yeah. Are you enjoying the chicken? Yeah. Eat more, drink more, have fun, live more. He's like hyping up this like music, fucking disco music, Britney Spears, Beyonce, whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Chicken tikka masala, bro, prawn crackers, seaweed, fucking chopped vegetables, whatever the fuck you wanna eat. It's jam packed, this place. Okay, it's Saturday night. It's jam packed. Somebody's having a birthday, mate. I'm not joking. One of the ladies, like I wouldn't say she was not middle-aged woman, like very attractive, very nice woman. She was having a birthday party, and they bring out a cake with those fucking Roman candles or whatever, that shit that flies everywhere like sparks and shit. You can fucking catch on fire or whatever, and everybody's singing, dancing, clapping. And ladies and gentlemen, that is one of the reasons why the United Kingdom, why Britain has the word great in front of it, why I'm so happy to be part of this amazing atmosphere in this country. Because the food is cheap, and the karaoke is fucking awesome. Okay, because only in this country you will find a place like this. You will find characters like Minaj. You will find karaoke. You will find a villain, okay, like Mary. But after spending some time in this magnificent establishment, she's gonna turn around and she's gonna say, like, this was actually quite enjoyable, you see. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Mike Yanek Show. Bye-bye. Episode 2. And yeah, I did more than an hour about a documentary that is only 45 minutes, but I think this documentary deserved it. Next week, I'm gonna talk about cricket. Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out how the fuck this shit works. Maybe I'll talk about some other shit, like, if I have time. But if I don't, who gives a fuck, ladies and gentlemen? Have a tremendous week, mate. Okay, I want you to fucking hustle, bustle, make that money. I want you to go to the buffet. If you see, listen, mate. If Minaj ever hears this podcast, come to the podcast, mate. Or I'll come and visit your buffet. You're a superstar now, mate. Okay, I fucking love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your week, and now enjoy the outro music of the Mechanic Show. Bye bye. Mechanic Show. Outro music. Pa, 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 pa. You've been listening to the Mike Yanek Show, episode 2. See you next week. Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye bye.